for yesterday's meeting. Do you have any question, guys? What we have learned yesterday?
No, good morning,
No,
sir.
sir.
Okay,
Okay,
Deepak, I'm leaving this call, but yeah, you all can continue.
sure.
भेज रहे हो लिंक पावर किएगा व्हाट्सएप पे
So you guys don't have any question, right? We can start for today's session.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, let me share my screen. Just confirm me if you are able to see it.
Yeah,
Can you
hi
see my
Deepak.
screen
I
now?
have one. Uh, hello. Hello.
Yeah, actually voice is breaking. Come
Yeah,
again,
hi
what did you
Deepak.
say?
Yeah, hi
Yeah,
Deepak. This is Bhaskar. Uh,
okay. Yeah, Bas.
I have a question in
Hmm.
before session.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
SSBI is the it is the another tool like it is or it is in
Like,
future one of the future in Power BI.
mm-hmm. No. SSBI is self-service business intelligence, right? Power
Yes.
BI is a SSBI tool. Like Tableau is also SSBI tool. ClickView is also SSBI tool, right?
Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
What do you mean by SSBI tool? Is like self-service business intelligence, right? Like you can do all those stuffs, not being from a IT background, right? If you are a business user, right, Excel, Power BI, Tableau,
Yes.
because there is no code required over there, right? That is why it is called, these tools
Yes.
are called SSBI tools, right? Self-service business intelligence tool, which
Okay.
basically turns your raw data into meaningful insights, meaningful visualization, interactive dashboard, right?
Okay. Okay.
Because the data which you are getting, that would be in the tabular format, right? Rows and columns, cells are there, but you cannot take fast decision from that data. You need to analyze that, you need to process that in your mind, and then after some time you will be in a place where you can define that, yeah, this is the higher sales. However, you can easily identify which one, for which particular attribute we are having highest numbers, right, by just simply watching line chart, or like bar chart, or tree map, where is the highest share,
Yes.
donut
Yes.
as well.
I mean, those are all in Power BI, right?
Yeah, charts are in the Power BI,
Yes.
but SSBI tool, like SSBI, you can say Tableau is also SSBI tool, Power BI is also SSBI tool, right? But Microsoft Power BI is a tool from Microsoft, right? Tableau
Yes.
is a
Yes.
tool
Yes.
from different competitor. That is the
Okay.
whole.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Now I'm understood.
Okay. Any other questions from anyone else or from you?
No, sir.
Okay. So let's start our session for today. So I think we covered till here, right? I showed you guys how to install Power BI, even if like Power BI is already installed on all on your machine. So have you guys practiced, tried to create a few visualization over there in Power BI?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes.
we can see that after our today's session. Maybe we'll cover a few points today till half an hour or maybe 40 minutes. Then I'll see like what you guys have developed, and the Q&A session for today itself. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So what are the types
Oh,
of Power BI platforms? So keep in mind, like at the first hierarchy, you can say there are some tools in SSBI, right? That could be your Power BI, Tableau, etc. And in Power BI, there are three things. three, basically one is Power BI Desktop, which is a desktop application, which you all guys can install in free, right? You don't have to pay anything for that. That is the development environment for the visualization or the Power BI, you can say, right? The next one is Power BI Service, which is called software as a service. So what it is nothing. It's like the, you know, cloud environment which is given to you by Microsoft, and you have to pay for the same. Okay, so whatever files you have developed, whatever reports you have created, in order to share that report, you have to first publish that report into the Power BI service, where everything got stored, right? Everything would be stored over there, and then from there you can share those reports with other people. Okay, that is why it's a Power BI service. It's a software as a service which Microsoft is providing you guys. The other type of Power BI platform is Power BI Mobile. So that can be used for your iOS and Android, or Windows is missing over here, Windows devices, right? You can simply visualize your data, your reports which you created in Power BI Desktop in the portrait form, if any. Then you can visualize that in Power BI Mobile. If not, then you will see the landscape version of the report which you have created in Power BI Desktop. Right. For Power BI Desktop, it is free. Power BI Mobile, it is also free. You can install it, but it's workspace, right? And that you can have the access to the workspace once you have Power BI service account. Then in that case, you can see that you can install Power BI Mobile on your devices, but that would not be accessible until and unless you have access to the workspace, to the Power BI service, right? So for that, for Power BI service, you have to pay, right? So in that way, you can say that Power BI service and Power BI Mobile is chargeable, right? You have to pay for the same. But for Power BI Desktop, you don't have to pay a single penny. Okay, and Microsoft Power Platform, I'm not talking about Power BI over here. I'm talking about Power Platform tools of Microsoft. Amongst them, we have Power BI, right? In Power BI, we have these three things. We have Power Apps, right? Power Apps is basically used to input data into the source, right? It's a kind of, you can create apps for the same, right? You don't need to have knowledge of, programming language and all, right? It's also a designing tool, you can say, where you can design your app, right? That's been given to you by Microsoft under their Power Platform, which is called Power Apps. The other one is Power Automate, which is basically used to, if you want to automate your flows, right? You can create your flows over there. Automation, something like that. Let's suppose you want to, you created a report in Power BI, right? In Power BI Desktop, you published it into the workspace or Power BI service, and let's suppose you want on daily basis, you want to send the screenshots, the snips of your Power BI, right? In that case, you can make use of, you can leverage the Power BI, not Power BI, Power Automate, right? So that it will be automatically and it will deliver the snapshot of your data to business users on daily basis, right? You can also configure uh, daily refresh from there as well, but you need a data gateway to be set up in your Power BI service account, right? And the other one is Power BI, I think not Power BI, that is Power Virtual Agents. That is basically a chatbot application that is also code free, right? All these are some of the services provided by Microsoft under Power Platform. One is your Power BI Desktop. You don't consider Power BI Desktop. One is your Power BI, another one is your Power Apps, third one is your Power Automate, fourth one is your Power Virtual Agents. Okay. Let me move on to the next slide, which is why Power BI is an important tool. So can you guys tell me why Power BI is an important tool? Because I have already given you the importance of, SSBI tool. Can you list some advantages of it? Why it is important, SSBI tool? Because Power BI is also an SSBI tool, right? Any one of you?
So may I?
Yeah.
Sir, actually, Power BI make our, I mean, with the use of Power BI, we can easily understand the data. If if someone is not very good in in business purpose as a on paper, so with the use of visualization and all, we they can understand easily, and in very less time they are understand all the thing. I mean how our business growing and what is the sale and what is the targeted sale, how much they are getting profit or loss in a single page. They can easily understand this. So that's why we are using this type of tool. I mean Power BI or Tableau like this
Okay.
for
Fine.
understanding. Yeah.
Any other point you would like to add? Or anyone else would like to add any other point to it? Okay. So connectivity with the first importance of Power BI is connectivity with multiple data sources, right? As you guys must be aware that because some of you already are using Power BI, right? There are multiple there are multiple connectors available with Power BI through which you can import your data, or maybe if there is an option to connect with direct query, you can do that, right? There are n number of data sources, right? From your flat file sources like Excel, CSV, you can connect your data from JSON as well, from Oracle databases like Oracle, SQL Server like Azure, and Azure Data Factory. There are n number of data sources available that can be connected with your Power BI, so that why they have provided the connectivity with multiple data sources is because they also want to grow their business, right? If they are not able to provide the connectivity, how the organization will use Power BI and how they'll generate their revenue. So that is the reason they have given connectivity with most of the data sources available. If there is let's suppose there's no connectivity available for your data source till now, you can simply write an email to them, and they'll within coming few updates they'll add that data source in their connector, and you can also use that, right? But most of the time, in organization, we used to connect with either with SQL, or if that is a file, flat file, we can connect with CSV and Excel. But yes, in some of the organization, they don't want that to be, because they also getting data from some tools, right? And rather than going from transferring that data from that tool to Excel or CSV, they just directly want a connection with Power BI. So simply they write that email. So that is the reason in each update of Power BI, you will get the news that hey, this connector is now added as a data source, right? So connectivity with multiple data sources, you can connect with multiple data sources. It doesn't mean that, let's suppose you created a file, right? It doesn't mean that you can, in that particular file, you can connect with just one single data source, right? In a single file also you can connect with multiple data sources in just a single report. There's no need that if you want to connect with a different data source, you need to create another report. In the same report, you can connect with multiple data sources or multiple sources. Real time analysis. So Power BI is also helpful in real time analysis, where you can connect your data via direct query mode, right? Or live connection. But live connection is supported to some data sources only, like a shared data set. What is a shared data set is like, let's suppose you created any particular report, Power BI report, you publish that into the workspace, right? And basically you publish that data set to the workspace, and workspace is available in Power BI service, right? You publish that over there, and you can use the same data set for your reporting. Let's suppose you published a particular data set over there, you can make use of that data set which is already there, which you published, right? And create visualization out of it. And that file is connected with a live connection, right? Whatever changes you will made in the data set which you published earlier, that would automatically be reflected in your live connection model, right? You need not have to refresh the live connection report which you just created, because that is connected live, right? Whatever changes you will made in the main model, that would reflect over here, right? How real-time analysis. So let's suppose you are getting data on each, let's suppose you are working in crypto market, right? In crypto market, your data will be changed in seconds, right? So you can create a SAS cube, SQL Server analysis cube for that, right? And take the live data from there with the live connection, or maybe with the direct query mode, right? You can take that, because that would be updated on on second by second. You will watch. You are currently watching a particular data point over there. It will be changed in next second, right? So that is why Power BI is also helpful in real-time analysis. Availability of custom visualization, what it means. So you can see that there are some default visualization in Power BI, right, in the visualization pane. But you can also, because these are some default visualization, but you can import some custom visualization from the market, which is there from Microsoft itself. Let's suppose some scenario is not, you cannot, there's some requirement which cannot be fulfilled from the default visuals, right? Then you have to import a custom visual. You have to search about it, how what visualization can be, over the Google you can search, like I have this in requirement, and is there anything I can have in custom visualization to fulfill that. Then you can import it from marketplace as well, Microsoft Marketplace. I'll show you guys how to import the custom visualization. Sharing of reports and dashboards, this thing I already covered many a times. So whatever report you create, right, in Power BI desktop version, you can simply share those report. You can create dashboards out of it. You can create apps out of it, right? And you can share that with your colleagues, right? But you have to pay for it. You have to have a Power BI Pro license, or if you are having a Power BI Premium license, you can share that report with others. Like you guys are getting, like, what's the importance of Power BI?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
let me move on to
Yes,
the
yes, yes.
next slide. Okay, so this one is the Power BI architecture, how all these things work basically, right? So as you can see over here, like there are multiple data sources. So these are just 6 data sources, right? SharePoint, you can connect your data from SharePoint. You can see SQL, Salesforce is there, right? You can connect your big data platform as well, like. And how the process starts from architecture of Power BI, if I say. So we have different sources available, like SQL Server, Oracle, Excel, SAS, etc., which can be connected to the Power BI. And from these sources, we take the data into Power BI desktop. And there we do data modeling, we do Power Query operations, we do DAX calculation. And after creating different visualizations in the desktop application, then uh, we deploy the Power BI report into the service cloud environment, which is Power BI service. In the Power BI service, you can then share your report with different people in the organization, and they can also see that report in the mobiles through Microsoft Power BI Mobile, right? And in between that, there's we have to install Power BI gateway in the Power BI service. Why that? Because you created a report, right? In the Power BI desktop application, you have you have the report, and in order to connect your report with the data source, because data source is there some like that would be in Excel, right? It could be in SQL Server. So you have to create a connection, right? When it is in your desktop, you just need to refresh it. But yes, when it's in the Power BI service, which is the Microsoft Cloud environment, right? And if you want the data to be updated on daily basis or maybe on hourly basis, it would need a connection between your it would need something as a medium, right, to talk with your data source and update the data, right? So there comes the use of Power BI gateways, which you are seeing over here. This one is the Power BI gateway. So you have to install it, and configure it there, right? So that whatever data, if there is any change in the data source, right, that would be reflected in the Power BI service report, right? For that you have to install Power BI gateways. You got my point?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think here I have a
So
question. Can I
yeah.
ask?
So basically there are
Uh,
yeah, sure.
uh, can you please explain? I mean, we get the data from multiple sources like Salesforce. Can you please explain this brief structure? First, get the data from multiple sources and then push the data in desktop.
Yeah, sure. So let's suppose
Maybe
you are creating any Power BI report. The first what would be the
yes.
first step? First step would be importing the data, or maybe you are directly connecting with the data via direct query mode, right? There are two modes. So basically not two, there are three modes of which I'll cover in next slides. I have that thing over here, the modes of connectivity. I'll show it over there. But yes, for now, like let's suppose you connected your data source right now, and you are connected with a direct with a import mode, right? You imported the all the data which is there in the data source, right? It could be, let's suppose, take an example of an Excel. Okay, the first thing is you have to import the data, get the data in your Power BI desktop file which is there. Okay, if you're doing it via import mode, whatever data you have in the Excel source, right, that would be updated in Power BI. That would, like, you are importing the data, the complete data as a Power BI data set, right, in your Power BI report. You have it.
Yes,
Let's
sir.
suppose that is not in the way you want, right? You have to
Yes, sir.
clean it. So you need to
Yes,
transform that in your
Power
Power
Query
BI report. Yeah, in Power Query Editor, you are doing some transformation, ETL work should be done over there, right? Now you think that, yeah,
Yes, sir.
this data, this is the final data on which I can report, right? Let's suppose there are multiple tables which you imported, right? You have some data in, you have people data in one table, you have factual data in one table, you have geographical data in one table, right? I'm talking about sales data over here. So in that case, you have to do the data modeling as well in Power BI. You have to create a relationship between these tables on the basis of primary key, foreign key concept, right? You did data modeling as well in your Power BI report. And then you also did some kind of calculation, which is like you created, let's suppose, a calculated table, calculated columns, calculated measures, right? And you have used all those measures in your Power BI report visualization, right? What you grab a visualization like a bar chart, right? You used some of your measures over there. Okay, you created a complete Power BI report. Fine. You have your report. Now
Yes, sir.
what you will do? What should be the next step? You connected with the data source. You did ETL transformation in Power Query Editor. In data modeling, you connected those tables with each other so that and you configure how the filter will propagate. Okay, what would be the direction of filters to propagate? And you created DAX measures, right? You created visualization then, and now what's next would be you publish that report into the Power BI service. Okay, that's a cloud
Yes, yes.
environment from
Yeah.
Microsoft. Okay, you publish that, but over there you can share that report with your colleagues, right?
Yes,
Okay,
yeah.
and then the report is in the cloud, right? And your data source is in somewhere else, right? So in order to refresh your data set, okay, which is there in order to refresh your report or the data set of the report in Power BI service, you need a connection between your data source with your file. There comes the use of Power BI gateways. You have to install it, you have to configure it in the machine, right? In the server basically. And then what it will do, it will create a connection and refresh whatever data is updated in your source level. It will refresh it in the Power BI service so that you will see the updated reports. Fine. And then whosoever is accessing your report, right? Either it can be either through Power BI service or online, or it can be through Power BI mobile. They are seeing the report in the mobile. They'll also see the updated data, right? There's no lag. This is the whole architecture of Power BI.
Okay, Deepak. Now understood. Now I understood. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions on the same? Please ask.
So what is the gateway?
Okay. Gateway, you can see, you can call it as a bridge between your on-premises data sources and your Power BI service, right? In order to refresh the data set deployed in the Microsoft Cloud environment, which is the Power BI service, there is a need of connection between your Power BI service and your on-premise data source, right? That is somewhere else. So we have to enable the data gateway to create that connection. Data gateways are required only for on-premises data sources, not for cloud sources, because that is, live connected already.
Okay, sir.
You need not have to set up any data gateway for cloud sources, but yes, the data sources that are on-premise, that are somewhere else, right, on your machine or anywhere on your server. For that, you have to configure the data gateway, and where the data gateways are installed in one dedicated machine, right, or server in the organization premises, you can say. We usually install the data gateway in the company server, and once it is installed, we can configure the gateway within Power BI service account. We can use either admin account or any other service account to configure the gateway.
Okay.
Does this clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anyone else is having any questions regarding the same? And there are two types of gateway. Let me tell you. Maybe we will cover it later on as well. So one is your, personal mode gateway. Another one is your on-premise gateway. So for the organization level, right, you should be installing on-premise gateway, which is the standard mode of gateway, right? So there are some advantages to it, because first of all, why do we need to install the Power BI gateway in server? You know, if you want to refresh that Power BI report, right? The Power BI gateway which you install, that must be active every time, because whenever you refresh it, like you can, let's suppose you try to refresh your Power BI report at the night 2 o'clock, right? So the machine should be active every time. So that is the reason why we install the Power BI gateway, and that should be an enterprise gateway in the server, because server would not be closed, right? That is always running, right? So that whenever you trigger the refresh, it will found, like we can create, we'll be able to create a connection between the data source, because the Power BI gateway is active and it is running well, right? And Power BI personal mode gateway is just for you. So you can install, let's suppose you created, right, you created a Power BI report, you published it to the Power BI service, and just for testing purpose, you install the Power BI personal gateway on your machine, right? You configure it over there. Okay, you configure it over there,
Okay.
and like you want to test it out, because once you are conferring it on your local machine, the personal mode Power BI gateway I'm talking about, and if you're triggering your refresh, your machine is active at that time, right? You haven't shut down your machine. So that and then in that case it will connect with your data source. Like if you have taken data from an Excel file which is stored in your desktop machine, so you can simply refresh that with the help of gateway from your Power BI service account. Okay. And Power BI, so let's suppose if you have installed Power BI personal mode gateway in your local desktop, right? And you publish that report into the Power BI service, and you are using Power BI gateway personal mode, which is installed on your machine. Let's suppose you try to access, your Power BI service from another machine, right? From another laptop or computer in the service, and your the machine in which your personal mode Power BI gateway is there, that machine is shut down, that is not in active. So if you try to refresh from there, it will not refresh, it will throw you an error that the Power BI gateway is not running. So that is the reason the Power BI gateway should be installed on server machine. Okay, but you can install it for testing purpose for on your machine. If you are trying to refresh your Power BI report, right, you don't have access to the server, you can simply do it, configure the Power BI personal gateway on your machine and just keep your machine on, and you can simply refresh from the Power BI service your data set, it will be refreshed. Fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on to the Power BI components. What all things are there in Power BI? One is Power Query. Okay, we'll discuss each and everything in our next steps because I have included those at separate things. Whatever is not mentioned over there, I'll give you a brief intro about that. Some of the components are Power Query, Power Pivot, Power View, Power Maps. As you guys, most of you guys are already aware, if you were using Excel in your earlier, that these all things were already there in Excel as Excel add-ins, right? Power Query was there already in order to transform your data, right? Whatever data you have got. Power Pivot was there to do the modeling stuff. Power View is basically used for the visualization purpose, right? And Power Maps is basically used for geospatial data, where you have the information of longitude and latitude, and you want to plot some of the KPIs on the map, right? And Power BI desktop, then they introduced Power BI desktop, which is the combination of all these, Power Query, Power Pivot, Power View, and Power Map, right? Power BI desktop, we already discussed a lot on this. Power BI service, which is we also discussed a lot on this. Like Power BI service is the cloud environment from Microsoft, where you have workspaces, you have apps, right? Where you publish your Power BI report into the Power BI service. Power BI Q&A feature is something like you can query your data. You can simply write something like that. Sales by month and year, so it will show you the sales by, it will create chart, right? If you type sales by month and year, bar chart, on bar chart, so it will create visualization out of your query by its own. You need not have to drag anything, right? That is the Power Q&A feature available in Power BI, right? You just need to query your data, right? But believe me guys, if you have to train Power BI Q&A feature as well, right? Because not every time, but yes, to some extent, if you are, let's suppose you have some KPI with the sales name, right? Sales there, and you are asking to the Power BI Q&A feature, give me the net sales. So in that case, maybe you have to train it that sales means net sales, right? You can give synonyms in the data modeling view to sales. You can give synonyms like net sales. This is how you train your Power BI Q&A feature. If I ask you net sales, give me the sales, right? Show me the sales by whatever attribute I'll give over there. So the next is Power BI mobile apps. This thing also told you many times that you can visualize your Power BI report or dashboard what you have created through Power BI mobile app, right? In the portrait mode as well, if you have created, Data catalog is something like you have, if you are importing any data, right, it is stored as a data set on your Power BI desktop file, right? That is called a data catalog. Data management gateway, we just covered this point, in our previous slide. What is a gateway? So basically, why there's a gateway required? Because there's no need, like, if you created any Power BI report, right, and that's not been refreshed on monthly, whenever you have the updated data, that should be refreshed. If that is not refreshed, that is of no use, right? Because because it will show the stale data, not the updated data, right? So there's a need for data management gateway, how you set up your gateway, how you configure that gateway on your machine or on the server, right? So this is a diagram which will show you like how things are doing. So if I told you that the first step would be here is Power Query. We can connect the data, we can fetch the data, we can transform the data, like merge combine is there, or if you want to change the values, like converting null values to 0, or replace the values. If I found NA, I can consider that as 0, something like that. We can reshape our data, pivoting, unpivoting is there, right? In Power Query, in Power Pivot, we need to create relationships, we need to model our data. If there is a need to create any additional column, we can make use of DAX, calculated columns, right? With the help of DAX, we can create measures, we can set up KPIs, we can make a cube, right? So all those things would be done in Power Pivot. In Power BI, or you can say Power View, we can consider it as, if I'm particularly talk about in Excel, Power BI is like Power View, right? But Power BI is a combination of all these things: Power Query, Power Pivot, right? Power View, Power Map. So in Power BI desktop, you can visualize your data, right? Drag and drop different visualization on the page, input different measures over there to see the data. Forecast, analytics, interactive experience are there, right? If you particularly selected any particular visualization on the page, it will, it is quite interactive. It will filter or highlight all other data on the all other visualization as well. You can ask question from Cortana. This is something related to the Power BI Q&A feature. You can ask your question, like, hey, just give me the sales by product, right? Product wise sales. So it will show you the the sales on product wise. Publish, you can then publish and share your Power BI report which you have created into the Power BI service environment, right? Refresh and push changes, that is somehow related to the a data gateway. You can refresh your Power BI report, whatever you have published, right? And basically change the stale data to the updated data. There is R and Python integration as well. If you know the Python language, right, or R language, you can create your own visualization with that script. So it would require Matplotlib. There are other languages, other libraries as well, right, which you can use over here. If you have that knowledge, you can create Python visuals as well, R visuals as well in Power BI report, right?
Okay.
So yeah, and there are basically two languages which is used in Power BI. So M language is used in Power Query editor, right? Whatever steps you will do over there, that will be converted into M language, right? Automatically by Power BI Power Query editor, right? And if you know M language, you can write simply the M language and do all your steps there, right? And for Power BI, you can consider it under Power Pivot, right? Because in Excel, DAX language is used in Power Pivot, and in Power BI, DAX language is used to create your calculated columns, your calculated measures, your calculated tables, right? And do you guys have any questions regarding the same?
No, sir.
No, sir. So I have.
Actually, voice got break. Could you please come again? What did you say?
Can you please
Can you give me just
Am I
give me
audible, Deepak?
no, I'm not able to hear you. Let me change, the connection of my connection. Maybe it's because of, internet connectivity. Just give me a moment.
Yeah.
Okay, now you can say whatever you're saying.
Yeah. Now is it okay?
Yeah, it's okay now.
Can you please previous
Still like your voice is breaking, or maybe are you guys able to see,
No, sir.
properly?
Sir, his voice is
Hello.
breaking.
Okay,
Uh,
I think the issue
now
is
is it
at your
okay,
side.
Deepak?
Yeah, it is working now.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you please view this page, previous page?
Yeah, sure.
In this page, I have a question. In Power Pivot, I know. I mean, model data, set up relationships, calculate extra columns, and create measures. These four I know in Power Pivot. Can you please
Mhm.
explain set up KPIs and make a cube? How it do in Power Pivot?
So setup KPIs, you can consider it in this particular way. So let's suppose, you have a particular KPI. Let's suppose you are having sales KPI with you, right? What are KPIs? That is basically key performance indicator, right?
Yes.
Sales will indicate your performance, right? How you are doing it. Okay. And you have to derive, profit out of it. How you can derive it with the help of, everything over here is interrelated, right? With the help of calculated column, right? You create another KPI which is called, let's suppose you have the sales information, you have the cost information, right? In order to derive your profit, you need to simply, subtract your or deduct your cost from your sales, right? So in this way, you can set up multiple KPIs, which is needed for your business. Like you must be interested in, profit or profit margin, right? You have to derive it.
Oh, okay. Now I'm understood.
Okay.
KPIs means like yeah. Now I'm
KPI is
understood.
also a
Yes, yes.
visualization in Power BI report as well, right? KPI indicator,
Yes,
right?
yes, yes,
Don't
yes.
because there are separate, a single word can have multiple meanings if that is used in multiple contexts, right? So don't be confused from this particular thing. Just see that, because there are multiple points over here that is of no use, like make a cube, right? Setup KPIs is fine, like because you have to derive why there is a need to have a calculated column. Let's suppose you have to filter your data, right? Basically, let's suppose you are giving some segments based upon your sales, right? This is the low selling segment or medium selling segment, something like that, right? For that, you create a particular column in your Power BI report, right? So what you are doing over there, you are creating a KPI basically, which will measure the performance, right?
Yes, 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 yes. Yes.
Okay, so I think we just left with 13 more minutes. So if you guys, okay, let me show you these slides as well. If you want, you can simply read it out. Like what is Power Query? Power Query is a data transformation and data preparation engine where you basically what you do, because as I told you many times as well earlier, like you are getting the raw data, right? It is not 100% sure that you will be able to use that data for your final reporting, right? End user reporting. There are some columns which would not be in the correct shape. Maybe you have to change the data type of the uh, your data, right? Whatever data you are getting, there is a mismatch of the data type. You need to change that. You need to basically transform the data and make it in the usable format, right? All these things can be done in Power Query Editor. It has a separate window in Power BI desktop. Once you click on the transform data, right, Power Query Editor window will open, and every step you will perform over there, it will be recorded as a M code, right? And that can be, if you want to basically, let's suppose you did any step and you don't want to, you said that I have accidentally did that, you can simply remove that step. You will get whatever was there earlier, right? This is nothing like just a ETL environment. And Power Pivot, I told you, like you can do modeling, right? Provide there's one more thing. Let's suppose Power BI is having an engine which will compress the data, right? But let's suppose you are taking the Excel file is quite long, not long, it quite heavy, or the SQL Server data which you are getting is quite heavy. So what Power BI will do, Power BI will compress the data, whatever data you have in the source, right? It will compress it 1/10, and it will make it 1/10 of the data, whatever you. So let's suppose if you are importing 10 GB of data, right? It will convert that 10 GB into 1 GB and store it completely as a Power BI data set. That is how efficient Power BI is, right? Fine.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And we have Power View. So we have Power View is nothing that is basically you are you are showing your data in the form of different visualization, right? You create a bar chart, line chart, and all sorts of different visualization, right? You're showing basically whatever they are in the model, right? With the help of different visualization available with Power BI as default visual or as a custom visual imported from Marketplace, Microsoft Marketplace, you will be able to show that in Power View. Everything is there in Power BI desktop, but it was also available in in Excel as well as an Excel add-in Power View. But now everything is combined in just one single application. You need not have to install each add-in in every update. You just need to install Power BI and update your Power BI desktop only. We have Power Maps. This is also like if you have the geographical data in the form of latitude and longitude, right? You can plot that. You have some kind of sales over there, so that you can analyze on map, right? How different countries or cities, the data points in the form of latitude or longitude is performing in terms of sales or other attribute, like what's the profit across different regions or whatever. Okay. What is Power BI Desktop? That we already covered. Power BI Desktop is a free application you install on your local computer that's let you connect, transform, and visualize your data. With Power BI Desktop, you can connect to multiple different sources of data and combine them, often called modeling, into the data model. Let's suppose you connected from multiple sources, right? You are getting some data with some Excel source, one with some with your SQL Server, right? You have imported the data in two tables, right? You have to connect those two tables with each other so that one attribute from a table can filter the other attribute in other table, right? That is called basically modeling, how you model your data, right? And once you model your data, then you can build visuals and collection of visuals. You can share that report with others, people inside your organization, but that can be done in Power BI service, not in Power BI desktop, right? Most users who work on business intelligence projects use Power BI desktop to create report. As I said that the business user can also leverage Power BI desktop to create reports, then use Power BI service to share the reports with others. These are some of the common features of Power BI desktop, like connect to data, transform and clean the data to create a data model, create visualization such as charts or graphs, that provide visual representation of the data, create reports that are collection of visuals on one or more report pages. So basically in Power BI desktop, you can create multiple report pages, right? You are showing some visualization on a single page, and then on the next page, you are showing other sets of visualization showing a different kind of analysis, right? And once you publish that report into the workspace, there you have multiple report pages over there, and you can pin, a visualization from multiple reports in a single dashboard. Once I'll show you how to create a dashboard, you can see that I can, in a single dashboard, I can pin the visualization from my multiple reports, not just a single report, right? That is why from the dashboard you can have a 360-degree view of whatever your business is doing. Share report with others by using the Power BI service that we have already covered many times. This is how the sample report look like. Over here we have used pie chart, we have used data cards, right? Card visualization, we have used stack bar charts as well. The map is also there. We have used the scatter chart, which some of you could call a bubble chart as well, right? And I think it's enough for today. We will cover it from next session. So if you guys have any question, you can ask me till now what we have learned so far. Do you guys have any questions?
Yeah. Hi, Deepak.
Yeah.
Can I expect some interview questions in this session? I mean, yeah, some interview questions for this session.
Interview question could be anything, right? They can ask you what are the components of Power BI, right? What are the different services available with Power BI, right? It depends. Like once we cover each and everything over there, then I'll share sets of questions for it, because the questions could be anything, right? If you are using Power BI. So some of the questions is like what are the components, right, which I showed you, these one. Then you can explain these components, because these are the questions like they'll ask in Power BI components. Anyone can ask what are the different components in Power BI. So you can let them know that these are some of the components, and then if they ask to explain anyone, you can make use of these things, right? Or the main question which everybody will ask is the Power BI architecture, how everything is done in Power BI architecture, what all things are there basically, how should you start, where will you end. This is the most likely question to be asked, what is the Power BI architecture.
Okay, Deepak,
Okay,
thank
sir.
you.
Okay, if you have any questions to this, you can ask me. And the next one question that can be asked from what are the Power BI components, right? So these are like one liner. If you can explain it in just one line, that would also be okay. But they can ask you what are the Power BI components. And maybe they'll ask you types of Power BI platforms, right? Which is Power BI Desktop, Power BI Service, Power BI Mobile. They'll not ask you what all things are there in Power Platform from Microsoft, which I told separately, just to enhance your knowledge regarding Power BI, regarding Power Platforms, which is available there in from Microsoft, right? But they can ask you this thing, but not sure if they'll ask you. But yes, they can ask you why Power BI is an important tool. Yeah, definitely. This is the most likely question to be asked. What is the Power BI architecture and the components as well. That's all. Anything else you want to ask? You want to clear if there is anything in your mind regarding any concept which we have covered today.
Yeah, hi, Deepak. Can you please explain data catalog in Power BI components?
Okay. Data catalog is nothing. So let's suppose you are connected with a, let's suppose there's some data in your Excel, right?
Okay.
You imported that data in your Power BI desktop file, right? That data resides in your you know in your Power BI desktop file as a Power BI data set. Okay, that is called data catalog.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay, so basically there's an engine, right, which is there for I don't remember the name of that engine. I think that is called X velocity engine. Maybe I'll check it and let you know. So what it will do, it will compress the data, right? Catalog engine will compress the data. So I told you, like, if you have 10 GB of your data, right, Power BI will compress that data up to 1.5 GB or 1 GB itself, right? So all these compression would be done with the help of data catalog, and that data which is there in the source at such heavy file size, right, that can be stored as a Power BI data set with the help of data catalog, right? And that would be a compressed data. You'll not lose any data, but that would be compressed. And you can make use of that data to create your Power BI visualization. Okay. Any other questions before we wrap up?
Yes, sir. Sir, can we, fetch the data from different databases? In using join or something like that. We have
Mm,
two
no. Join
databases.
is a separate thing. So let's suppose I'll cover it tomorrow. Don't worry about it
Okay,
because
sir.
I created those slides, right? Import mode versus direct mode, live connection. There are composite models over there. I'll connect that, you know,
Okay, sir.
composite models. What are composite model? If you can see models that are having import mode and direct query mode connectivity in the same report, right? I'll cover that tomorrow.
Okay, sir.
Okay, yeah, you can connect. Join is something like, first of all, you have to connect and take the data from different sources, right? And then in your Power BI modeling, or maybe in the Power Query editor itself, if you want to join those tables, you can do that. Or else if you want to join those two tables in the form of relationship in the data modeling view, you can also do that, right? If you want to create a single table out of data from out of a table that is coming from multiple sources, you can merge or maybe append those two tables in the Power Query editor. Or else if you don't want to merge, right, you can create a relationship between these two tables in Power BI data modeling view, and also take the same result out of it.
Okay, sir.
Okay, anything else from anyone else? Okay, I consider that you guys are clear about everything which I taught you today itself. So let's meet tomorrow then.
Yes.
Okay. Bye
Yeah.
everyone.
Okay. Okay. Bye, Dev.
Bye.
Bye, sir.
Hello.
Yeah, hello. I think Subhagya, that training is done, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, then fine. We will connect in 1 hour and then we will give you like detail what next you need to do. Okay.
Okay, sir. After 1 hour.
Yeah. Meanwhile, continue your learning process. Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay. Then, sir, I should leave.
Yeah.